Hi, this is Joachim for statisticsglobe.com, and in this video I'm going to show you how to create box plots in R. So if you want to create a box plot, then you need some numeric data, and that is what I'm going to create here in lines 2 and 3 of the code. So if you run these two lines of code, then you can see that a new data object appears here at the top right of RStudio, and this data object contains 1000 numeric values. Now, if we want to draw a box plot of this data, then we can use the Boxplot function that you can see here in line 4 of the code. And the Boxplot function is already provided by the basic installation of our programming, so we can simply apply it. And we can apply it by simply specifying the name of our numeric data, so in this case x, within the Boxplot function. So if you run this line of code, then you can see that a new box plot is appearing here at the bottom right in RStudio. However, what you also can see is that this is only a single box plot. So often you may want to draw several box plots side by side in the same plot window. And that is what I'm going to show you here in example 2. So if we want to draw multiple box plots in the same plot window, then we of course need multiple variables. And for that reason, I'm creating here in line 7 and 8 two more variables, y and z. So if you run these two lines of code, you can see that two more variables appear here at the top right. And then we can store all of this data in a data frame, as you can see here in lines 9 to 12 of the code. So if you run this code, you will see that a new data frame appears here at the top right. We can also have a look at the first 6 rows of this data. And now you can see that this data set contains one column for the values of our 3 variables and one grouping column which contains the corresponding variable name. Yeah, so if we want to draw a box plot containing multiple variables, then we can again apply the Boxplot function, as you can see here in line 14 of the code. And then we need to specify the name of our value variable. So in this case, we called our values, and the name of our grouping variable, which is in this case called group. And then we also need to specify the name of our data frame. So in this case, we call our data frame data. Now, if you run this line of code, you can see that at the bottom right, a new plot appears. And this time we have multiple box plots within the same plot. Yeah, what you also can see is that this box plot is relatively plain and simple. So for that reason, I'm going to show you in the next examples how to modify this box plot and how to make this box plot a little bit prettier. So in example 3 of our video, I want to show you how to add a main title and axis labels to our plot. And this is something we can do with the main argument for the main title and the xlab and ylab arguments for the x-axis and the y-axis labels. So if you run all of these lines of code, then you can see that here at the bottom right, the box plot itself is the same as before, but this time we have a main title, a y-axis label, and an x-axis label. Yeah, so another thing I want to show you here in example 4 is how to draw a horizontal box plot. And that is something that we can do here with a horizontal option by specifying this option to be equal to true. So if you run these two lines of code, then you can see that now our box plot is appearing with horizontal alignment. Yeah, another thing that I want to show you here in example 5 is how to make the middle of these box plots a little bit thinner. So this is something we can do with the notch argument by specifying this argument to be equal to true. And if you run these two lines of code, then you can see that here in the middle, the box plots are a little bit thinner. I can also increase the size to show it a little bit better. Yeah, so here you can see the middle of the box plot is getting thinner by specifying notch to be equal to true. In example 6 of the code, I want to show you how to draw your box plot with colors. And in this case, I'm just specifying that our box plots should be in red by specifying the col argument to be equal to red. So let's see what happens when we run these lines of code. Yeah, as expected, the box plots are shown in red. However, often it might be useful to use a different color for each of our box plots. And this is what you can do here with the code of line 7, of example 7 in lines 35 and 36, by specifying the col argument to be equal to a vector of colors. So in this case, we are using red, green, and purple. And you have to keep in mind that this vector needs to have the same length as the number of box plots that we have. So in this case, we have 3 box plots. And for that reason, we are specifying 3 different colors. Yeah, so let's run this code. And now you can see that each of our box plots has a different color. Yeah, so one more thing I want to show you is how to create a grouped box plot. And this is something for which we need new data, because right now we have only our 3 box plots, but no subgroups within each group. And for that reason, I'm creating a new data set here in lines 39 to 42 of the code. And after running this code, we can also have a look at this data. You can see that now we again have 2 columns, but this time the grouping column is divided in 6 categories: x1, x2, y1, y2, z1, and z2. Yeah, and now if we apply these lines of code, you can also see that we are using the add argument. And the add argument is actually specifying at which positions your box plots should appear. And as you can see here, we are leaving out certain positions in between. And I think I'm showing you how this looks like, then you will know why we did that. So if you have a look here at the box plot that is appearing at the bottom right, you can see that the positions 3 and 4, as well as the positions 7 and 8, are left out. And for that reason, we were able to create this grouped box plots. Yeah, so one last thing I want to show you is another package that we can use for box plots, because you have to consider that so far everything we did was based on the basic installation of the R programming language and based on the Boxplot function. However, as you may know, in the R programming language are many packages available which are able to create very pretty plots, and the most powerful package for plots is probably the ggplot2 package. And for that reason, I also want to show you one example in which I'm using the ggplot2 package. Yeah, and if we want to use the ggplot2 package, we need to install and load the package, as shown here in line 48 and 49 of the code. I have installed the package already, so I'm just going to load it here with line 49 of the code. And then after loading this package, we can use the ggplot function, as you can see here in line 50 of the code, plus the Boxplot function. And if we run these 2 lines together, you can see that of our original data, we are creating a ggplot2 box plot in this typical ggplot2 design. Yeah, so depending on your personal taste, you might prefer to use the ggplot2 package. However, as you have seen, you have many alternatives for the creation of box plots in the R programming language. Yeah, so that's basically what I wanted to show you in this video. However, if you would like to learn more about the creation of box plots in R, then you could check out my homepage, statisticsglobe.com, because on the homepage I have recently published a tutorial on the drawing of box plots in R. And in this tutorial, I'm explaining the content of this video in some more detail. I will put a link to the tutorial in the description of this video, so you could check it out there. And also I will put all the code that you have seen here in the video in the description of the video, so you could copy it from there. Yeah, if you have liked the video, I would be very happy if you leave me a comment. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel in order to get notifications about videos that I'm releasing in future. Thanks a lot. See you next time. Bye bye.